my game, which became Times of Law, and I wanted to hire an artist to help me do the art, because in the old days I used to do all the art as well as the programming and the writing and all the rest of the stuff, except for the sound, which Martin used to do for me, although I don't know where Martin's gone now. I went to the local sort of role-playing D&D club, and there was some really brilliant art on the wall, and I was like, who did this art? And it was an artist called Dennis Loubet, who had previously done covers for Richard's Ultima, but he wasn't employed by Origin. He just was sort of a freelance artist that they'd hired to do the covers for the boxes.
Yep.
And so I hired him to do art for me, and then about a month or so later, Richard hired Dennis as the first full-time employee, like artist, ever employed by Origin. And Dennis said, well, I'm working on this other thing, so they allowed him to carry on working on my project, and that's sort of how I came in to meet Richard for the first time.
Okay, so it's through Dennis Loubet.
Through Dennis Loubet, yeah.
All right.
So I showed him what I was working on, and we got on very well. But I was also talking to Electronic Arts at the time and Broderbund, who I guess don't really exist anymore. But
nope.
At the time, they were one of the biggest publishers, and both EA and Broderbund wanted to publish the game, and Broderbund was showing me this thing. They said, "We think this is going to be big. It's called the Nintendo Entertainment System," which was before it came here to the US, and I was like, well, it looks kind of cool, but no, I don't know. And EA wanted to fly me up and do all the rest of stuff, but ultimately I really had a good time with Richard, and we sort of connected and related, so I said, it may not be the big, huge publisher, but I really like these guys, and I'm a young kid, so if it doesn't work out, I can do something else, and that's how it started, and have no regrets. It was some of the best times I had.
Yeah, no, that was the beginning of the game industry in Austin. In fact, that was the very genesis of it when there was nothing else in town.
Yeah, that was it. No, I don't know how many people there are now, but it was 5 people back then.
Right.
It's
yeah,
big enough.
Now it's actually pushing about 10,000 total in the greater Austin area,
wow.
with all the different studios, and publishers, and everything else that are here. So that was the origin of it all, so to speak. And we had little 2, 3, 4 person teams working down here at the time. Had Todd Porter, Greg Malone, working on a variety of titles.
And I forget. What was I forget the guy that was programming Ogre. I forget, but
Ken.
Well, no, it wasn't Ken.
Chuck Boucher, are you thinking?
It wasn't Chuck. It wasn't Ken.
Because he had done an Outer Duel and was one of the original founders of Origin.
No, I can't remember. But no, it wasn't either one of them. But anyway, carry on.
Sorry
for doing that.
Yeah. So you were just one of the many bright new talents in the pool at that time, and took Times of Lore and then Bad Blood, right?
Times of Lore, Bad Blood, but I was working on Wing Commander when we were also working on Bad Blood. So essentially, I was working on Wing Commander pretty much by myself, and then Dennis was doing some art to help out, and Paul Isaac, who was the programmer that worked with me when I did Times of Lore, who was also doing the main programming for Bad Blood, would help out occasionally. But I basically worked for about a year on Wing Commander, sort of in a sort of pretty low-profile setting, not too dissimilar to, although there was a few more people helping out this time around on what I did with Star Citizen. And then about 12 months into it, I said, I think this would be pretty cool, and I think I pulled you into the office and pulled Robert into the office. And
when you were finally ready to show us what you've been working on during the night shifts there.
Yeah, and anyway, I think you liked it, if I remember correctly.
No, man, it was awesome. It just blew us all away, and it was on a Commodore 64 and
well, no, not the Times Law was on Commodore 64, but the Wing Commander stuff was all on PC.
On PC at that time, yeah. So was that a 386 or?
It was a 386. I had a 386.
By the time it launched,
I had a 386. I had a 386-25. No, I 486. I think was Wing 2, but I had a 386-25 megahertz with a VGA screen, which was a whopping 256 colors and 320 by 200 pixels. I think my one had 640K, and that was at the time like a $5,000 or $6,000 compact top of the line machine, and I thought it was amazing. Which ironically now my iPhone,
right.
run wings around it, has so much more memory, so much more everything. So and that was the time where I said, to hell with all this trying to make something work on a Commodore 64 and only 64K of memory. I'm going to go for it and use every piece, every byte of RAM, and I'm going to use this newfangled VGA display with 256 colors. So that was the genesis of.
And that was a tough decision for our company at the time because the market was still just evolving. We were largely an Apple shop,
and you were also worried about what about 4-color? It needs to work in CGA. It needs to work in EGA. But I think at the end of the day, it worked. I mean, especially when we went to CES in 1990 and we demoed it.
Yep,